Hey there guys, how you doing? This is Ice9 doing another Madden Mobile video. Not sure how many more I'm going to be doing. The bosses and Ultimate Legends, I'll be covering those from time to time. The movers, unsung heroes, all those types of things I don't usually cover. But to start things out, let's do a little bit of gameplay. And I am telling you now, I am at a 108 overall. I actually made a mistake and put in some of my positional heroes. And so now I'm a 108 overall. Seen some pretty tough teams. And I just get picked there, clean, no counter. Alright, so let's see how it goes. Seems pretty freezy today, so I don't know how much I'm going to be playing, on the video. And, just haven't been recording as much. It is looking like, for me that, I don't see playing next year, in terms of this game. It's gotten really, really bad, in my opinion, this year. It has not been a good year in general, even though they've done some great things. Boy, it's freezy. That is really, really freezy. And we're going to go to Rock, the open man there. Strong IFB middle. You get a nice little pancake there with the guy in my face. Guys doing their job with the blocking. That looks like a counter. Oh, that was so dangerous. So dangerous. I thought he was going to cut in front of the defender. Corner blitz. Try to take advantage of that. Yeah, this is, that's a counter. Oh, ho, ho, ho. See, Dorset is alright. That was two trucks there. And he did alright. I'm starting to truck a little bit more in Hall of Fame now. Gotta do it, I think, to try to get any yards. It's very difficult. Oh, catch the ball. Please catch the ball. Alright. And what am I going to do here? I'm going to try that spread FL drag again. It's not countered. And tried doing that from behind. It didn't work. Ooh, Y stick is open too. And let's try to run up the gut. That's not a countered look. And there we go. Try a Y stick one more time. Go to the well. That's a counter though. Critical. Play call frequency 31%. Oh man, that's another counter. And we're going to scramble in. Something I'm starting to do more as well. That was a medium or low severity. And you could always see it in curls at the goal line because you don't get that typical goal line setup. When you see that and you are able to get out of the pocket, a lot of times you could run in. You should definitely not throw the football unless you could time the throw in that situation. And usually in the goal line with everything stacked up, safety, it's double coverage on 1 and 2. And the tight end is definitely covered in the middle of the field. Usually don't get a real good look at the halfback on curls too. So best thing to do on a low or medium severity is run on that situation. So I am going to kick it, and we'll take that. I think we'll take that. Not a great kick. Still using the high tower, even though I did do positional hero Bailey just for gameplay. So that is basically it, and that's very, very freezy. So that's not a very fun experience to play on Hall of Fame with this freezy screen like that. So that's all you're gonna get there. So we're gonna go in. We're gonna do some promos. We're gonna complain a little bit. I thought, there's a lot of positions left to go. I've done 6 of the bosses. And, I haven't done Hester, haven't done Harrison, Evans, Pouncey. I've got 32 tokens at the moment. And also have over 100 elite trophies. And I've got some 99s out there that I could use. So I've probably got a total with everything. I don't know. I've probably got about 45 tokens worth of stuff left. And I'm not really working too much on making any coins, so I'm basically just slowly draining off what I have, and then what I want is a halfback, a tight end, a safety, and a middle linebacker. I thought after the previous week, and it doesn't really show these in order, I don't think. Actually, it does. Okay, so 2 weeks ago they did James Harrison and Jabri Evans. And, these are 2 good cards. I covered them before. Play recognition, though, just being a little redundant. How much PLR do you need when you already have Brady? So that's why I didn't do the Harrison set, even though a strength boost is nice. And then the other one here is strictly a O-line booster, but could really help on my team, as I have one of the I have Zeitler still, 98 positional hero. So this would help a little bit, and another impact block boost might help. Very well might help. I've seen that show up. Right tackle still doesn't block no matter what. You have to get him to engage and block. But these do help out a little bit, so I'm sure this guy would help out too. So if everybody left, I'd like to have Hester. He's a bear. Pouncey here for this week. Awareness and strength. This is not bad. The thing is, even though these stats are really, really good, and these are 2 of the best boosts in the game, at this point, with the number of +5 boosts that are out there and how good the players are, awareness, even though it's probably the second best boost after speed, there's just so many awareness boosts out there. So this just isn't as relevant of a card, and definitely not one that I'm really interested in doing. In terms of gameplay for centers, he might show up a little bit, but the thing is, once you get Evans here, with the run block and impact block boost, so if you've got him, if you've got Fisher with his impact block boost, and let's find Trent Williams here. And if you've got Williams, essentially anybody that you have in the mid-90s blocking stats is going to be like 98 or 99. So there's just, for a center, it's a cool card. And obviously, if you're a fan of Pouncey, by all means, go ahead and do it. But it's not the first one that I'm going for, that's for sure. The other one I did do, as you see, Aaron Donald, and replacing Leonard Williams at defensive tackle. And basically what I wanted, even though Donald's kind of a smaller player, I do believe, the power moves and finesse move boost, it may or may not show up too much, but it's a very good overall player at defensive tackle, even though that's not a high impact position. I decided to go for it and go ahead and do this one. Just helping out on my team, even though I run a 4-3, so you don't need the big nose tackle. Having somebody a little bit stronger, I guess you could say, than Randy White at D tackle is somebody that I wanted. So then I'd want a safety, and I'd probably put Wilson at free, and whoever the safety is, if it's Landon Collins or Cam Chancellor, I'd put them at strong safety, and then a middle linebacker. And that's pretty much it on defense. I mean, obviously, there's some other positions that I'd like to fill. Um, in terms of getting Rhodes out of there, I think any other acceleration booster that comes out as a boss at that point, then All-Pro Peters will go back in the lineup at nickel. I really plan on keeping Peters on the legacy team because he's been so awesome. And much like what I said about the O-line, at a certain point, once you get a man and zone boost and everything, I mean, almost all your corners are going to be upper 90s in terms of man and zone coverage and play recognition. So might as well put Peters there. I really wanted to do the Dion set. I don't know if they're going to do the GOATs at all. The one thing that's really annoying, though, that EA did, and it's just like, will you please stop, EA? Will you please stop with it? All right, so, they've done a fair share of linemen, that's for sure. They've done an O-tackle, they've done a guard, they've done a center, they've, I guess if you want to look at it positively, you could say, boy, they're getting those guys out of the way so we could get the skilled players in there. And we've gotten, OBJ, obviously, and Josh Norman, and all these types of things. These are all cool cards, but all these O-linemen, positions that you don't really play late in the season, it's very, very late in the season to be holding cards back. It just really is for EA to do this. So to do a week where they had a linebacker and then a guard, and then the very next week where you'd expect, okay, now they're going to go with some skilled players, skilled positions. So wide receiver, tight end, halfback, safety, maybe, even though it's not as skilled, middle linebacker, something more, a little more sexy. So people could have these good cards for at least what's left in the year with all the effort that it takes to do the bosses and get 10 tokens, Just doing linemen 2 weeks in a row is just really super annoying. And here we're going to cover Ultimate Legends, so they're not as relevant, obviously. In the set-based version of this card, the one thing I would say is, so why would you play him over Peters? He's taller, this Mel Blount card, but why would you play him over the Super Bowl Blount card that gives you a small boost? What's so great about this? That Blount card at dime, it's just a man and a press boost, but still, with all the boosts on teams now, this is just a really hard one to go for. And then I believe the boss has a tackle boost, but it's also not that great of a card. That mine to Eric Williams, so offensive tackle with Fisher and Trent Williams already out there, that position's pretty much full. So this doesn't matter at all. But when you look at the set-based version here, by no means would you take this over either of those two cards. So just not a great week for that. And then, the Too Tall Jones card, which is really not a bad card, but you just wouldn't play him over Watt or anything. And the Herman Moore card. So these have just been, with the bosses, they're really putting these set-based cards and on the back burner. They're just not as good. I mean, sure, with OBJ, Moore here is going to have 99 speed, 99 jump. But the carry is still not too high, and it's just not that great of a card at all. So, and then positional heroes are done. Did a third wide receiver here, and going along with the non-sexiness, there's just nothing great about this card. Nothing at all. Really low carry, actually, and with NTLs out there, high hit power. I just don't assume this to be a great card at all. I could be wrong. He's a tall guy. maybe some of the hidden stats, or maybe the card just plays better than its stats, but it's just a really weak 99. So it's cool that EA decided that they were going to do extras for positional heroes. But it seems to me that both with positional heroes and with Ultimate Legends, making those players really, really, much better at this point would be the way to go. Not make them weak 99s when you got bosses and things of that nature. And that really goes on. I mean, there's a lot of things, in my opinion, that are wrong this year with this game. And, it's really come down to a few things for me. And it does not look like I'm going to be playing next year. I'll still obviously do a couple videos here and there. But, at this point, this is just a cry for help from EA. And, it might fall on deaf ears, but EA has made some really, really poor decisions this year. And they've gotten just way too greedy with this game. And the reasons why, okay, so if you can't do, I've got guys in my league who haven't done any bosses as of yet. Now, I would argue to those guys that they could have worked a little bit harder and gotten at least one boss by this time. With a little bit of hustle, a little bit of effort, they could have gotten them. But there are guys in my league who have not gotten boss one. They haven't gotten one boss player. For guys who cannot do the bosses, who don't have what it takes to spend the time to make the coins, to get the gold players, I'm doing the gold player set. Boy, I'm doing that one a ton. 56 times I've done this set. Just, it's crazy, really, if you look at it. That is just thousands of gold players. And I have players saved up, but basically I've done this set, I believe, 36 times since bosses come out. So, I've been hustling, but guys who can't do an insane set like the bosses, who don't have the coins and the players saved up, and who aren't willing to spend that amount of time, they still need to be rewarded. The content still needs to be very good. And this year, it has been a massive letdown. These players, they're still pretty good, but they're still expensive, considering actually the Sean Taylor set card's very, very good. But the year collectible is so hard to get, has been so rare and hard to get. These players are still expensive, and a lot of them aren't very good at all. When we look at movers here, we've got an AP card, and I just saw a post on Mudhead, but they're absolutely right. This isn't really necessarily as good as the Ghost of Christmas Present AP card that came out 6 months ago. So what good is this card? +2 overall to all the Saints during gameplay. So for a theme team, it's great, but it's not even going to increase the overall of the theme team, or whatever team that it's on, in order to, I don't know, just for overall reasons, to be able to look at it and brag about overall bragging, or for the very functional thing of avoiding critical counters by increasing the overall. So it's just +2 overall to Saints during gameplay. What does that even mean? And they're kind of weak cards, especially for this late of the year. Just nothing too great about these. We could look over them. I mean, yeah, Poe here. It's not a bad card at all. That's probably the best one of them. But Alshon Jeffrey here, we've got wide receivers galore. Now we got one with 92 speed. Sure, with OBJ, he'll have 97 speed, but just not that great. Not that great at all. Peppers here, just nothing too exciting about it. Bennett here, it's actually not too bad of a card. Not bad of a card at all, actually, with boosters, and he's a big guy. But, corners galore out there. This is just, so the movers isn't too great. They were 99s last year, and the pieces of the movers last year were all also plus 90 players, which were more expensive if you got a pull of one, held its value more. And these being 99 players, even though the sets were harder to do last year, they were a little bit more desirable. As it stands, there's a big difference between these and the boss players and things of that nature. It's just not that great of content. And then positional heroes, we talked about it, the Dansby card here, and you definitely deserve the card. But 89 speed, really? I mean, in June, May, late May, whenever this came out, June, we're going to have a linebacker with 89 speed. You know, it's just not that great. Zone coverage is great, but, you know, it's just not that great of a card. Pen card we already talked about. You know, they're still doing the unsung heroes, which is, you know, even if they hadn't have had the egg of power, I would have never worked on this thing and just, you know, stayed. I would have stayed with the pack unit rather than going for the Doomsday defense and the small improvements that it has. There's just no point to it. Absolutely none at all. And especially with OBJ out there boosting speed. Anyways, on plus on both offense and defense, it makes Doomsday even a little bit more worthless. For people who did it, I'm sure they found ways to get it done economically, and I'm sure it's satisfying for them. But if you look at these players now, you know, 81 hit power, 88 speed. Oh, that's exciting. 99 acceleration, which is easy to boost. Great. The other card here, still 88 speed, high hit power, low acceleration. So that'd probably be the one that you do. But it's not a great card. These are just not very, very good cards. You know, so that's another thing. And then the throwbacks, I still haven't gotten a helmet. And I play this live event a fair amount, trying to at least get snapshots to put in boss sets. So I play this a bit. Have never gotten a helmet. And it's one of the most annoying things about the game this year is that pulls are harder. The packs are definitely harder. We know that. And we know that earlier in the year, EA did it to try to get some coins out of the market with all the coin buying and selling going on. But that does not explain the whole story, as I've said before. Pulls are harder. Live event rewards are harder. There are less things that are accomplished in playing this game, but actually by playing this game. Nothing carries over to the next year, is the assumption. So now they're in here with their game plans. And I doubt they would do anything as obvious as making plays unlockable at the auction house or by spending money. You know, that'd be another level of obnoxious. But really, it is obnoxious. Game plans are obnoxious. The soft counters in particular are obnoxious. In terms of ways of implementing video difficulty into a video game, what I have found personally is that the soft counters have made the game arbitrary and obnoxious. And now playing good defenses, believe me, when you're playing a 112 defense, you know, it doesn't need any counter help. You have to execute well just to be able to play a 112 defense. I'll tell you that right now. So as far as needing any difficulty with these counter percentages, it takes away strategy, because all you really do is put these soft counters on there and let them fire. I just had a drive where I just got hit with 4 in a row, even though I was adjusting to take the lower percentage plays, short passing, still got hit with 4 in a row. You know, it's stupid. It's honestly, it's a really, really stupid thing that they've done. And it also, you know, when you've been playing for 3 years, you know, I'm coming up on my 3rd season. Basically, I started midway through season 1. So I've been playing this game 2.5 seasons. when you've been playing this game for that long and you're hoping to see some kind of ray of light in terms of some kind of show of appreciation from EA or making improvements to the game, gameplay wise, making it easier to get players wise, I don't know, maybe doing some rewards like they used to do for, legendary members or whatnot, which they haven't really done since very early in the season. When you don't see any evidence of this, and it's just a grind after grind after grind, and with the soft counters, the gameplay is definitely a grind. When you see that, then you get to the point where it's where I am, and that is I don't even care to see what they do for next year, because they haven't made changes after bunches of people have complained this year. The league to leagues are still, they're difficult. People are adjusting to it, but it's still difficult. Better leagues, when they play worse leagues, there's more blowouts than ever. That's not a good thing in terms of gameplay. Hall of Fame, another thing. If I had to complain about things, I would complain about the lack of tiering players and promos. In other words, it's the bosses and not everybody else. The haves and the have-nots, basically. And when it comes to things like throwbacks, some of the cards are just really, really hard to get. Still haven't gotten a helmet. Ridiculous. This promo's been out, 3 months now, and I haven't gotten a helmet. It's stupid. I haven't done any throwbacks at all because of how hard the pulls are, how rare the pulls are. Absolutely ridiculous that in the normal course of playing actively that you can't get one of the items that you need for one of the sets from a live event. You can't really get it any other way except for going through packs, of course, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to use whatever coins that I have left to do as many bosses as I can. And like I said before, the bosses, the thing is, it's the best program EA has ever done. There's so many ways to do it. If you hustle, if you work on it, you can get at least 1 or 2 minimum with any kind of diligent effort whatsoever. You're going to be able to get 1 or 2 of these by the end of the year. But there's not enough to scale up. The movers, throwbacks, positional heroes, Ultimate Legend sets, none of these are really good enough to scale up into doing the bosses unless you work incredibly hard. And, they're because there's such a big difference between the boss players and all the other players. So the good thing about it is at least you don't have all the best players in the game that are pack only. That's definitely an improvement. This is, like I said, a great program, the best that they've ever done, but there's no tiering underneath it. There's just no way to make the coins easily. Well, it should never be easy per se, but they've just made it too hard is really what it is. Your collectibles too rare. Movers just aren't going for enough. The pieces aren't worth enough. Positional heroes, they're just, kind of weaker cards. Some of them are good. Kyle Williams, I just sold for $850K. And, the reason why is because 99 cards, all cards are being eaten up by boss sets right now. So that's going to drive up the value of those. Unsung Heroes has been all about the Doomsday thing anyways. There's some kind of cool cards in there, but they're not really top tier cards. And never have been. These just have never have been. It's just for this goal of getting the Doomsday defense that you're going to lose at the end of the year anyways and not even probably be able to see it on the bench or in the trophy room, rather. Throwbacks, like I said, some people have gotten lucky and gotten helmets, but it's The pulls are too rare. You used to be able to pull year one. By this time, there was a flashback Friday. That means you could pull an elite flashback from the live event. How foreign is that concept now? And that is the whole point that I'm making. EA is just working everybody a little bit hard. And then there's fan favorites, which they've basically given up on. I don't think they've done anything with that for weeks. So, that's basically it. But it's not just about the promos either. That's not the sole reason that I'm complaining. The gameplay is obnoxious. The soft counters, it's just not, it hasn't been a good way to implement difficulty. Game's definitely more challenging. I've definitely become a better player this year. If you watch my videos from last year, you could see it. I'm better at this game, and that's a good thing. That's what you want games to do, is force you to play better. But at a certain point, the soft counters have been just stupid. Having randomness being so much of gameplay in a game is never a good thing. It's just never going to end well when that's the case. And, that's basically it. So, as bosses come out, hopefully we get some of these GOAT players. Barry Sanders could come out this Friday. That'd be awesome. At least I can enjoy, some skilled players. I'm not going to enjoy a center or an O-guard on my team right now. So it'd be cool if they brought out some of the GOATs or some of the cool skilled players. And that's probably coming on Friday. So I'll cover that, guys. And thanks for watching.